I have this question here from Tunde, and Tunde is asking, since 2014, I've worked as a graphic designer and run a printing press. I was able to open my own shop and everything was going well with clients always satisfied. However, in early 2022, a client who enjoyed working with me secured a job for me at a large organization, which pays me 5 times my monthly income from design and printing. Although my role there involves record keeping and doesn't take up much time, I continued my side hustle as a graphic designer. However, recently, a colleague at the same level has been criticizing me, particularly for my decision to balance both jobs. Please, I need your clarity on this. Now, thank you very much for that question, Tunde. Um, I think Tunde's question is a very popular question I get um, from people, especially young entrepreneurs, people who are running businesses and trying to balance it out with 9 to 5s. Tunde's question is particularly interesting because, according to him, he was running a pretty successful graphic design and print business. And he said a client who was very impressed with his work decided to connect him with a job that pays 5 times what he earns as a monthly income. So he's getting more money from this new 9 to 5 that his client um, was able to connect him to. And he has somebody, I don't know whether this person is at work, I think this person is at work, criticizing him. Now, I don't know why the person is criticizing you. You haven't stated why the person is criticizing you. Maybe the person is criticizing you to stick with your business or to stick with the 9 to 5, but the person is criticizing you trying to juggle these two things. Now, for people who listen to my podcast often enough and people who I mentor, they know that I am not a big fan of side jobs, side hustles. In fact, the word hustle is a no-no for me as a person. That's a personal thing. I don't like that word hustle. I don't believe in hustles, and I don't believe in side hustles. I think the only thing worse than a hustle is a side hustle. But a lot of people do it. And I want to address business people here because I have so many people that start out doing business, and after a while, you see them stop doing the business to get what they call a real job. And a lot of them do not even stop doing the business. They live with this illusion that I can do my business and my real job at the same time. And by some measure, my business will just blow by the side. I know that there might be people who have done their businesses that are very successful now. They started out doing it as a side hustle. But if you look at the indices and you look at the statistics, those people are not as many as the people who decided to take a 9 to 5, do their business as a side hustle, and the business totally died. So a lot of times, when we get motivated by stories of people, I think what we need to do is really take a census of how many people are not within that audience of the people that we might think are successful. So, if you are going to take a census of people that dropped out of school, for instance, and became successful after dropping out of school, and that's motivating you, I think one thing you really need to think about is how many people dropped out of school and became the downfall of their lives. So I'm not advocating for staying rigidly in school if you are doing a course that doesn't align with you personally, doesn't align with your values or your natural skill set. But I'm also saying that we shouldn't blindly just take one person's story and just think it will work for us. There are a lot of black swans. A black swan is a rare occurrence. So there's a possibility that, in the world, it's not even a possibility. There's a place in the world where you have black swans. Swans are normally white, but there's a particular place where you actually have black swans. You understand? But you cannot use that as an ideal description of a swan. You understand? You cannot use that as an ideal description of one, even though it this kind of swan occurs in one place in the world. They exist in one place in the world doesn't mean that when you're going to describe a swan, you say every swan is black. And so when you're running a business and you are running it as a side gig, chances are that business will not do well. I always tell people that focused energy would always outshine scattered energy. Somebody who focuses on a business through and through and has that laser point focus on that business will cut through economic challenges, will cut through barriers more than the person that has a scattered energy. Focus is always stronger than distraction. When you do something with focus, you will grow faster, you will have more impact, you will go higher than if you were distracted or you're juggling two things. That's the truth. That's the reality. So in the end, focus always wins out. But the question here is, why do people who have a business idea, who seem to set out on an entrepreneurial journey after a while, why do they abandon the business? Or why they abandon it altogether? And why do they try to balance it with a 9 to 5 after a while? I was reading the Bible this morning and I got some answers from the Bible. So if you will pardon me, I would refer to a scripture in the Bible, and it's Mark 4. The book of Mark chapter 4. And I think I started reading from verse 13, but I wouldn't read through. I will just summarize it. Now, this is one of the many parables that Jesus told people. And this is called the parable of, sometimes called the parable of the four soils, SOIL, or the parable of the sower. And here Jesus talks about a man that goes out in the morning with seeds. And as he goes out, he pours out his seeds. And it said that some of the seeds fall on the footpath, on the walkway. As he's going out, just throwing out his seeds. Some seeds fall on the footpath and they are eaten up by birds. And it says as he goes along, he throws out some seeds, and some seeds fall on rocky ground. They fall on the rocky ground. And it says those seeds, they grow some shallow roots. But this is rock we're talking about. The roots cannot penetrate rock. So after a while, they die off because the roots are not deep enough. And it goes ahead to say the same sower throws his seeds, and another set of seeds fall between thorns. And so when they grow, the thorns begin to wind round the plants and choke them out, and the plants never come to fruition. And the last set of seeds fall on good soil, and they take root, and it begins to grow, and the plant begins to grow and begins to bear fruit. And the fruit, some of it is multiple folds, up to 100 folds more, 100 times more the seeds that were planted. Now, I've always read this parable. It's not unfamiliar to me, and I'm sure it's not unfamiliar to a lot of people. But today, when I read the question here from Tunde, this scripture came to light in, a whole new different angle that I'd never seen it before. And this is why businesses fail. This is why you have some people that set out to do business, and the businesses in 10, 20 years become juggernauts. You understand? The businesses grow to a place where they're highly impactful, highly profitable, well positioned. And you have the same person, you have another person that sets up almost the same business and give them 2, 3, 5 years. Those businesses do not exist anymore, or it seems like if they're not even growing. Now, the first set of people, or the first set of seeds that Jesus talks about here, are the people whose seeds fall on the footpath. And it says here, Jesus says that the birds come and eat them immediately. Now, Jesus here is talking about the word of God, but here I want to relate it to an entrepreneurial seed, an idea of a business. Some people have this entrepreneurial seed, but then they go and plant it on footpath. And it says that this ones immediately, in less than how many minutes, birds just come and eat them. They become bird food. What this means is, for the entrepreneur that has an entrepreneurial idea, some people just don't, immediately they have that idea, they cancel themselves out. Immediately, they cancel themselves out. The devil just comes and just plants how it won't work in your head. They just tell themselves it won't work, and they just talk about they see the challenges immediately before the possibilities. So immediately the idea just comes. They see the challenges. I'm too young. I'm not educated enough. Nigeria is too hard. The power supply is too bad. I don't have enough water in my area. I don't have enough friends. I don't have enough, people just say all manner of things that just cancel out the idea in their head. So the idea doesn't last. Never sees the light of day. Sees the light of day just for a few seconds before they can even express it at all. The birds of negative thoughts come and eat up that idea. So the business never sees the light of day. And then they see somebody else do this business and it works. And then they're the kind of people that say, I had this idea. I had that idea. Do you know I had that idea like 10 years ago? I had that idea before you. They're always the I had the idea type of people. But it never goes past ideas, because the birds of negative thoughts and challenges that you imagine come and they eat up the entrepreneurial seed that was given to you. Now you have the second set of people. Their seeds fell on the rock, and then they didn't have deep roots. They had shallow roots. I know the thing about plants that grow on rocks. Just a little bit of just scraping on them and they're off. Sometimes strong wind will blow them off. Sometimes strong rain will wash them away, because the roots are not deep. The roots are shallow. And there are a lot of people that have entrepreneurial seeds too that have shallow roots. And what this means is that immediately they set out to do the business. They set out to do that business that has come to their mind. So they even move beyond ideation. They move into execution. And they actually start to do this business. But the first opposition they have, the first client that doesn't pay on time, that owes them money, the first opposition they have, they close up. It doesn't work. I don't want this experience again. So when you do business, the first rejection you get is I'm not meant for this. I'm not built for this. So you close up shop. You don't want to go through any hard times at all. You want it to be smooth sailing all the way, shallow roots. Shallow roots. I remember when I started doing design as a business, the first client I had, she wanted me to design a logo. And so the first client I had was a logo design job, actually, paying client. So she said I should design a logo for her. And she had this consulting business. And so I got to work, very excited to do this thing for this first client. You understand? Very excited. I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's make this happen. And I went through iteration after iteration and she kept on saying, I don't like this. I don't like this. And I think I did about 20 for her. And none of it hit home. And after a while, she just stopped answering my emails, just totally disconnected. I never got paid, never got a reply, never got an approval. And I remember telling myself, logo design is not for me. Logo design is not for me. I said, I will never do logo design again. Based on that one experience, I said, I will never do logo design again. And then I went many years without doing logo design. I went about 4 or 5 years not doing logo design. I was focusing on every other part of design but logo design. But those people, if you know me very well, for those that follow me, they will know that my real sweet spot in design is logo design. Because after many years, I still felt like this thing is meant for me. This is what I really want to do. So I had to go back to it. And as God will have it, that became the part of design that paid me the most. Paid me the most. In any part of design, that's the part I've gotten the highest pay for. Logo design. It became my strong point. It became what people knew me for. It became the strongest point through which I inspire people who are designers. But this was the same place, or it's the same area of design that I gave up on because of one bad experience. For up to 4 years, I said I will not do it again. Some of you are running your businesses like that. One ugly experience. You just started out one ugly experience and you said, no, business is not for me. I can tell that business is not for me. Shallow roots. People need to know that business sometimes is hard. Sometimes you have clients that are difficult situations. People will swindle you. You will go through difficulties. I remember going through, I used to do a lot of printing too and production. But my first few years of printing, I went through terrible printers that got me in trouble with clients. Terrible ones. That if not for God's grace, I should have gotten arrested because of some printers that I paid to do some jobs, but they didn't do it. And I was now left in an uncomfortable position with the client. You see, you go through challenges, but those with shallow roots that want everything to be easy will not stand. The businesses will die. Now you have the next set of people. People who fell on soil, but they fell amongst the thorns. So these were seeds among thorns. And this is where a lot of people fall into, where the plant starts to grow. They go through the challenges and the wind doesn't blow them away. But as they begin to grow, they are growing amongst the wrong people, wrong associations. They hear the wrong words. They have bad advice. They compare themselves to the wrong people. And you see, the Bible says something interesting here. It says that the worries of life, the lure of wealth, and desires for other things choke them out. So they bear no fruit. The worries of life, the lure of wealth, and desires for things. So you have these people, the business is growing, it's doing well. It's doing well, it's actually growing. You understand? You can see it come up from the ground, growing leaves and stuff like that. It's about to begin to grow fruit. But then you have these thorns around it that begin to entwine it and poke it with the spines or the thorns, you understand, begin to penetrate it. And I feel to a large extent that's where Tunde might be. Might, and I'll say might for a particular reason. I'll come back to Tunde to address Tunde directly. And they start telling you you're not earning enough. You yourself start telling yourself you're not earning enough because you are looking at the next guy. Look at me. I started this business 2 years ago. This next guy got a job also 2 years ago. I'm earning from my business 50,000 naira a month. He has started earning from his employment 200,000 naira a month. I think I should jump ship. So the law of wealth begins to make you disdain the growth of your business. You've forgotten that 2 years ago when you started, you were earning zero. Then you went from zero to 10,000 naira a month. From 10,000 naira a month to 15,000 naira a month. And then after a while, you started earning 50,000 where you are right now. But then you start thinking it is too slow because this person got a job and immediately started earning 200,000. So comparison sets in. And then you kill this thing before it begins to have fruit. Wrong association. Thorns. And sometimes the thorns are even our parents, our loved ones, people around us, your parents, your spouse. Start telling you, can't you see your mate? Does this person know your age mate? He has built a house. She has bought a car. What are you doing? You say you are doing business. Because they always want incredible, massive growth over a short period of time. But you know your growth. But you become impatient with your growth because of what you see. You also have people that are thorns, but this ones are the sly thorns. And this is where I might come to Tunde. They tell you can do better. If you just leave this business and took this job, you can do better. I can see your skill. You are such a talented person. So they begin to solicit for you where they shouldn't. Where you never ask them to. Unsolicited promotion of your skill to be employed by somebody. Not promotion of your business, but of your skill. So they go out and say, I've looked for a job for you, when you never ask them to do it. Because they're like, you're so diligent, you're so this. I'll go out and talk to my friends about you if they can employ you. But you never told them you wanted to be employed. But then they look at you and they say, you can do much better than this business with this skill that you have if you just got a job. I can't tell you how many people were soliciting for me when I started my business. I had this person who was a friend to my dad, always used to come and just say, I just spoke to this person that runs this advertising agency. He wants you to come and work with him. I told him I don't want to work with an advertising agency. I want to run my own business. But he will always go and talk to people about employing me. Always. And say, if you can move to Lagos, I have this friend that runs this stuff and does this, and you work with him and he'll be paying you more. You see, you always have thorns. Some of these thorns will seem like if they want the best for you. But this is where you must be clear about what you want. And this is what I must tell Tunde. Why did you get into business in the first place? Why? So you say this job that you have pays you 5 times more than you were earning as a business. Yeah, so that's a financial gain that you have. Incredible financial, 5 times difference is not a small difference. And it's incredibly much, 5 times. But then, why did you get into business? Do you understand? This way you must ask yourself, why did I get into business? Because obviously your job description is different from, so you say you are doing record keeping. So you must ask yourself, did I get into work because I wanted to make a lot of money over a short period of time? It doesn't matter what I'm doing, as long as they are paying me the cash. Be honest with yourself. If that's the reason why you started this business and you started working in the first place, then you're on the right path because you've gotten what you wanted. A lot of money that is secure, at least to a reasonable extent. You're getting 5 times what you were earning some years ago. That's great. You're doing well. But if you started because you love doing design, you were dreaming of having your own design, your print press, your own printing press, and doing design and getting paid for it and solving people's problems through design, then you're on the wrong path. Because what you're doing right now is record keeping. And nobody does record keeping and gets better at design. You understand? Nobody does record keeping and gets better at design. And if you are being honest with yourself, you'd realize that you started losing some clients from your business. You'll realize that there's no way. Because they're not at your business 24/7. Some people will need you, but you're not there. You started losing some clients. If you are really unlucky, which a lot of people are, now you don't have your eyes on your business anymore. If you have employees at your printing press, likelihood is that they've started manipulating things in your business. The likelihood is very high that you're giving them room to start killing your business, either by stealing or poaching on your clients, or delivering work or doing substandard work because your eyes are not there. I meet a lot of people that run businesses and are doing it as side project and say, I have this girl, she's in my shop, she's doing while I'm doing my job in this civil service. That girl, likelihood, is the one that will run down your business. She'll run down your business. It's not her business. She's an employee without a supervisor. You are distracted. She's the one that will corner your clients. So many people I know that have been through that. You understand? Like it even happened to my own mom. You understand? My mom had a business, but she was running the business, and for a while she wasn't going there, to check out the business. But she had this employee that was very diligent, started out very diligent. So she made him the manager. But then he stopped getting supervised. He wasn't supervised because my mom wasn't there. You understand? To see the business. It was just this guy running the business. Before you knew it, this guy started building his own shop using her own materials. He started diverting some of her products to put in his own shop. So when clients come to her shop, he will tell them, this is how much we sell it here, but this is how much I sell it in my own shop, which was slower. And before you knew it, he diverted most of our clients to him using her products. Before you know it, he started getting wealthier. Before you know it, he bought a car and stuff like that. By the time he knew, it was too late. It was almost too late. He had done a lot of damage. That's what happens when you make your business a side gig, when you are not present, when you are not 100% present. So, Tunde, you really need to ask yourself, what do you want for your life? Because it seems like it's your client telling you what they want for your life. You understand? Your client should not be the one calling the shots. Ideally, if you are so good, what your client should do is to bring other clients, not to make you an employee. Not to make you an employee of somebody else. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it's a compliment for a client to say, oh, you're so good, come and work for somebody. I don't think so. I don't think it's a compliment. I think to a very large extent, the client just thinks, no client that you work for that enjoys you working for them will want you to not be present at your business. If I have a barber, someone that cuts my hair well, I will not look for a job for him in a bank. I would want him to continue to cut my hair. I would want him to grow as, somebody to have a fleet of barbing saloons. You understand? But not, I won't recommend him somewhere where I won't have him available as my barber anymore. So I think you really need to think about it, whether that client is really thinking of your good. And that's why a lot of us cannot identify thorns when there are thorns there. You can't identify a thorn when it's really piercing through you. I think the last thing I want to address is this self-comparison. A lot of times we compare ourselves to other people. Desires for things. Desires for things. The Bible says it. Those that fell among the thorns did not get to fruition because of their desire for things. A lot of times we desire things too fast, too early. Things that would eventually come if you were just patient with your business. You eventually have it. That house, you have it. That car, you have enough. You understand? You have enough. When those people you are comparing yourself with retire, you'll be surprised that that's when your own business is getting real traction, has a life of its own. When people are living on pension, you are living on incredible profit. But then, there's something for every person. So I'm not here to say that working a job is a bad thing, but you must know what you want for your life. You see, the reason why I was able to tell that my dad's friend, who was always recommending a job to me at great advertising agency, the guy was highly connected. The reason why I could reject it was because before I started my business, I got the experience of working when I was in Canada, and immediately I came back to Nigeria. And I realized I was a bad employee. I realized working in a place under someone did not just fit my personality. I didn't enjoy the mundaneness of it, the routineness of it. I didn't enjoy the subordination of it. I didn't. So I was always distracted at work. I didn't like the fact that I couldn't control my time. Those things did not energize me. So I knew that working an employment job where I had to resume at a desk was not for me. For some people, that drives them. Having somebody to tell them in the morning what they have to do, having to resume at a particular desk or a particular cubicle or a particular office excites them. Having to dress up corporately and go to work excites them. You must know yourself. Know yourself and blossom. Know yourself and blossom. I knew myself, that's why I could tell those people no. Told them no, because every single time I worked, those two places where I worked were a nightmare for me, both in Canada and in Nigeria. I hated going to work. They almost killed my passion for design. But when I started doing business, my passion grew and grew and grew and grew. I enjoyed working from my room in my laptop. I enjoyed being able to go anywhere in the open, you understand, and work. I enjoyed the freedom of time. I enjoyed meeting new clients, new people every day. I enjoy working on diverse projects. I like the flexibility. I like the fluidity. I like the risk. I like the risk of it. I like the unpredictability of it. Those things drove me. I like the fact that I could be broke today. The concept of the fact that I could be broke today, and just by one phone call tomorrow, things have drastically changed. It was sometimes nerve-wracking, but then it was like a rush that I enjoyed to have. You have to know yourself. Tunde and any other person listening. But this balancing act, a lot of times, fails. It's an illusion that you would run your job as a side gig, and it will profit you. It's an illusion. Most people that do that, the business dies. So you have to build your business on solid, fertile soil. The seeds that fell on the soil committed to the soil. There was nothing that distracted them. They committed. People don't understand that business is like a marriage. You get the best out of a marriage when you commit. Nobody has a side chick or a side guy and enjoys their marriage. You cannot have a side chick or a side guy and love your husband or your wife fully. Same thing with business. Think of your business as a marriage. Think of your business as a marriage. Commitment brings about productivity. It's in staying in the business that it grows. Staying, tending it. So that's what I feel, Tunde, you need to do. You really need to think of, number one, why you got into business, what your personality is like, what kind of person you are. Does business really drive you? Did you get into business because you enjoyed serving clients and watching a business grow? Or was it just about the money for you? If it was just about the money, then ignore this your colleague. I think you need to build a stronger sense of self, Tunde, because it seems like you get very easily affected by what people around you say. So when your client says, "I have a job for you," you don't tell them what you are thinking. When your colleague is criticizing you about balancing your job, you have too many outsiders passing an opinion about your life. And this is where we need to hear what Tunde has for his own life. What are your own plans for your own life? What are your own desires? I don't care about your clients or about your colleague. It's you. What do you want for your life? Are you happy with the job that you have? Are you happy? You've not said anything about what you feel. If you're happy with the job, then what do you care about whether your colleague is criticizing you or not? If you're happy with your business, then what do you care about the client that comes and tells you have a better job opportunity for you? But you need to be sure of yourself. This goes for Tunde and any other person listening. You need to be sure of yourself. Clarity, the highest form of clarity is self-clarity, clarity of self. When you have it, then you realize that you'll be able to pilot your own life in the direction that you feel led internally to go.